All right. Hey guys, how is it going? Thanks for tuning in. And I am just trying to hop over to open my comments in the chat. So hopefully, if you can hear me, throw a 5 up in the chat. Woohoo! David, what's up, man? How are you, sir? All right. So thanks for tuning in. I'm just getting my bearings straight on the YouTube live. Sweet. So yeah, thanks, David. Appreciate it. So cool. So let's take a look at a couple of different instruments, right? And we'll do it through the lens of Elliott Wave. And I wouldn't mind starting with the NASDAQ real quick. We'll just breeze on through. I know David wants to hear about crude oil. Most folks do around these parts. So let's take a look real quick at NASDAQ. So just zooming out a bit, if you go to the 4-hour, and if you're an Elliott Wave guy, you already know what you're looking at. 5 waves up, and I think the way most Elliott Wave guys are looking at this is this wave 5 of 5 of a much larger structure. So, everybody's kind of on high alert, looking for confirmation that perhaps a top is in place. So just backing up a step, if this is 5 waves, and it sure does look like a nice 5 waves, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at where the 4 measures, David, the bottom of wave 2. In other words, how much of wave 3 does wave 4 retrace? And in this case, it came down right between the 382 and the 5, right between the 382 and the 50% level, and caught support, and it did it in a 3-wave move. So that's very nice, very indicative of standard correction, including the fibs. So 3, 4, and then what you would expect after that is another 5-wave move. And the next move did happen as an impulse. Does sure look like 5 waves up. And then we got a reaction, a very nice reaction from that level. And this is extended for sure. But the way that it reacted and the way the internal wave structure counts, that really, it could have been it. But, we don't need to guess. Let's just look at fibs. So let me hop back down to the 1-hour. We can zoom in a little bit now. You can kind of see the details. And want to make sure that this thing is still doing what it's supposed to be doing. Yep. Okay. So basically what we have here looks like 5 waves down. And the way we measured this, the way Elliott Wave guys measure this, is by putting the fib tool and projecting lower from a 1, 2. And where I'm counting this as a wave 3 is like the 1, 1, 2, 3, 6. It could either be here or it could be here. I just counted it here. Either way, this projects nicely into a ratio box for wave 5. In other words, there should be a standard ratio. The total length of the origins of this whole structure, from the origin down to where wave 3 ends, and then where the wave 4 stops going up, there's a ratio that is typically between the 618 and 764. So I like to throw that box on when I'm looking for a 5th wave move, just to see does it fall within that guideline. In this case, it did, and it also double bottomed right along the 200 fib, which is an ideal fib level for a 5-wave move. So this is like a really nice, clean 5-wave down, and then you've got this bounce which did come up pretty high. I mean, above the 764, right between the 764 and the 886. And then look at the reaction you got from there. So, Elliott Wave guys are now thinking, well, okay, we're not predicting the future. We're just looking for probabilities in a field of probabilities, trying to determine what is most likely. And given this entire structure up, and given how it has behaved since that high, what is that, 20,374 up here, it sure does look like a 1-2 to the downside. So Elliott Wave guys, we throw on fibs, a reasonable target. If this is going to really follow through now, I think this is reasonable somewhere down in here. And, we're not predicting the future, but we are looking for parameters. So, for example, a really obvious parameter is it really shouldn't come back up and make a new high. That's obvious. And yeah, it can retrace a bit, but if the bears are really in control, this is not going to come back up into this zone. And it should be weak sauce. I mean, can it bounce and come back up? Yeah. Now let's go ahead and zoom in. I'm not sure how many people are on this live feed. Is there anybody in here right now from the Professor Trades group? If there is, drop a number 6 in the chat, so I know we got some of Armando's people on this live feed. And what I'm going to do now, I want to jump down onto the lower time frame. All right, hey Juan, what's up, man? Oh, Alex, what's up, buddy? Yeah, man, good to see you guys. So, oh yeah, David, you're a double dipper, man. Cool. All right, so now let's take a look at NASDAQ on a lower time frame, and I'm going to put on some fibs that I've gotten from Armando. Armando's fib setup is a little different. I love it, and I use it in conjunction with my stuff. So, and I'm going to keep this moving because I don't want to get this too long. I'm already going on a little too long. So, let's just say if this is a low of sorts, we don't want to see this come all the way back up and get above the 618. Let's see, 19. Let's just move this over, and then I got a template saved with Armando. And so here we go. So typically, what we'd want to see if we are expecting lower levels, you don't want to see this come back. I definitely don't want to see it come all the way back up into here. I mean, this is a great looking top after a 3-wave move, I think. And the way this is dropping down, I would say this looks more impulsive than corrective, at least at the moment. Now, this is very small stuff here, but the way we'll do it per the Armando way is if price does come up into here, this would be a reasonable place to take a short. And you can see that there is, call it a nano level right here, and I bet that's right at the 764. So that could be a level of sorts, but clearly for Armando's trading club, you guys know it's the 100. The 886 and 100, this is a warning. If you get above this level, 20,178, that's a warning, big time warning. What I would think is that this either comes down and gives us a bit deeper, then the retrace, I think, is going to be another wave 2. In other words, we have a 1-2 in place, possibly to the downside, and then where the way this would get down to that level that I just highlighted down here, this level, the 1618, which coincides with the 382, which is interesting from an Elliott Wave point of view, but for a scalper in Armando's club, this is way too far away from current action. So if we just go back, I'm on a 13-minute time frame here. I think it's very good parameters to just consider it really should. I think it's going to go lower to finish off a good looking 5-wave move down, which would be wave 1 of this next impulse down. So after the 1, then you get a more meaningful retrace. Now, is this 5 down? It could be. Could be. But let's just keep it real simple and identify these parameters. You know, if it comes back up without breaking a new low, I think this anywhere up in here, you can start using your own methodology and looking for a short entry. And if it gets this is a better short entry is up here, anywhere up in here. Otherwise, if this comes down, I could almost hear Armando saying in my mind, if you see a 1 hour candle close below this support level, if you get a 1 hour candle close in there, you may be able to scalp and pick up some pivots. I mean, pick up some points rather down to these lower levels. All right, so that's enough of the NASDAQ. Hey, Reed, what's up, man? Hey, Philippe, welcome, guys. I'm just doing a quick and dirty, man, just breezing through. So that's a NASDAQ. Those are the parameters. Now let's look at crude oil. I know that's a popular one, crude oil. So if I really go back out to a 4-hour chart or even a daily chart, just to get some perspective. So I think what's happening here is guys are trying to figure out, are we really going to just go higher directly from here? Or have we already come up enough of a retrace of this move? And you can clearly see what I'm thinking about on this chart is that this is a good area to be topping. Can it come up further? Of course, it could. It really could. I mean, there's 83.54 is the top of that candle. So, but I'm looking for resistance in here. That's what this supply demand zone is. These zones stay on my chart for a long time. So it is possible that we've already topped, but it's not for me to say that. Now, zooming in a little bit more, this is a 4-hour chart. If you're an Elliott Wave guy, you kind of know what you're looking at here already. This is a wave forward triangle, and then we got a 5th wave down right into the same ratio box that I was just talking about on the NASDAQ. Same idea. And this ratio box is related to this move down as a wave 5. So the whole structure, I was thinking it should terminate in this box if it really is 5 down, and it did. And look at the reaction you got. So then we do a very similar thing. I have a ratio box over here that I put on after we bottomed here. And price sure did get a reaction from that. Now, if you're not an Elliott Wave guy, all you need to know is this is an area that we would be looking for potential topping action. So here we come. We got a reaction from that level. It peaked above it a little bit. Let's drill down. So now you can see a little more detail. This is that same box. This is a 5-wave structure. Now, there's so much to talk about in Elliott Wave because there's a couple of options, but I'm not going to get into the weeds, okay? I'm going to keep it real simple. Price is obviously coming down. The main question that I'm asking is see how I have a blue AB here? If that's the case, then this C is much higher, like several dollars higher. So if that's the case, all of this could be a wave 1 with us forming a wave 2 right now of the blue C wave. Now, it's hard for me to say these things and try to teach at the same time about Elliott Wave, right? Because there's a lot behind all this. There's a lot of measurements going on. So just to keep it really simple, now let's hop back to kind of an Armando, the professor trades way of looking at this. We've got a floor, we've got a ceiling, okay? 82.72 on the top, 80.18 on the bottom. We've already cracked below the 50% level. Well, maybe we're right at about the 50% level at the moment where it closed on Friday. So the $1 million question is, are we going to lose this level and come down into this area over here for what happened? Are we going to lose this level and come down, which is going to kill the potential that I was just saying that maybe this is an AB and that this is a wave 1 of C and we're going to get a wave 2 and it's going to hold above here somewhere. And then we're going to go higher and make a new high and come up a few more, at least a couple bucks from where we are now? Or are we going to lose this and get a much deeper retrace, maybe even down into this fibs down here, call it just below 78? So let's get a little closer. This is the bullish potential I was just talking about. My view is that this is less likely that that's the low, because you know, if that blue count I was just talking about, it could be a 1, 2 or an AB, right? And we're going to go higher. Or is this already a 1, 2 to the downside? Now, I know this Elliott Wave is probably driving people crazy because if you're not schooled up on it, it's kind of hard to just talk about it casually because it's easy to get lost. So, but as I was just showing in NASDAQ, right, we had 5 down and 3 up. So let's do this. Let's just put the floor and the ceiling on this crude oil right here. This is a 5-minute chart, but we're mostly scalper day traders in here. So there's a ceiling. Let's keep it real simple. There's a ceiling. Why isn't this sticking on there? That's the ceiling. Here's the floor, right? Now that's, what is that, 80, 97, 80? So it's like a buck. It's like a buck. So in Elliott Wave speak, if this is 5 down, and then you got a 3-wave retrace, which I would label an ABC. I'm not going to get hung up in the weeds right now on too many exact details, but then the idea would be it's possible that this is on the way down. I mean, look how it closed, but I would discount that. So it's possible that this is on the way down. Now, let's put Armando's fibs on here. This has already made a bunch of lower highs, right? Here's a lower high, lower high, lower high. So let's measure. That looks like it exceeded the 618. 81.25. Yeah, so it did. So it exceeded the 618, which we all know that's the golden ratio. Is a magic number, man. So this is where we would normally look for rejection. So, and if I really just want to put it right on the top of that. So price has rejected around the 618. So it is possible that this is a 1, 2, and then we often look at it as another 1, 2. But I'm making this real quick because I want to keep moving on. I want to take a look at 2 other instruments market. What is 532? So here's an example of an Elliott Wave fib measurement. You put this tool, this projection, trend-based fib extension. I view it as it's projecting. So you put the fib at the top of a swing high at a low, and then you put it on the next lower high. And there's more to it than that, but that's just the basic. I'm just giving you a quick whammy. Okay, 81.68. So the idea is that if this really was wave 2, right? 1, 2, and then now this is another 1, 2 of wave 3, which typically projects to the 1618, which is down here around 80.73. This is a 5-minute chart. So, and if let's just imagine, let's channel our inner Armando from the Professor Trades. And if that's the case, we don't want to see this make a new high from here. But guess what? This is a great parameter to have because if it comes up over here, look at this wick up here. Now it's only a 5-minute chart. Actually, let's look at some of those candles. Yeah, I mean, would they really come back for that? What I'm looking at are these bigger candles. Look at this big fat candle all the way down here below 77. And there's also some liquidity here around just below 79 coming down into this zone. I think this is more likely if it's going to come down to grab this liquidity. But if the bears really mean business, it may come all the way down here. And these blue fibs here are very reasonable if that's the case. But let's get back to the nano stuff. So, if it's going to go way down there and grab liquidity, it's obviously going to lose all of this support. So what we're looking at is here's a lower high. Here's another lower high. And then it is yet to be determined, is this going to stick? This would be another lower high. Guys that like trend lines, I mean, it's not the worst idea to pop a trend line on there. I use trend lines just for reference. I'm not like trading a trend line. But, that's an idea. So the idea would be it needs to break these levels of support and come down. So where might a decent trade be? One thing I like to do, and this again is going back to Elliott Wave, we call it the pivot zone, is between the 618 and 764, 618. And what I like about it is it lines right up with that low if this is a 1-2 to the downside. So if I'm probably not going to be on very much later, but if it comes down here and you get a candle close below here, you may be able to grab yourself 20 pips. And I really like this. This is a much more meaningful level, I think, down here. If it makes it all the way down here, like maybe tomorrow, there's a lot of daylight between here. And this is a good parameter for Elliott Wave, guys, below the 100. Because if it's below the 100, that's meaningful, structurally speaking. So you've got some parameters here. Below 80, just call it 81.20 is meaningful. Getting below 81 even is meaningful. So if you can see a 1 hour candle closing below these levels, it opens the door and becomes much more likely to go lower. And the reverse is true. If they want to run this all the way back up, then I would say if you get above here, this goes for the gap analysis as well. You know about the gap analysis. If you're an Armando guy, you already know. If this gaps down more than 30, 40 points, you let it run a little bit. Maybe it comes down here. This is not a bad gap analysis trade, actually. If it gapped down 30 points right into this zone and then started coming back up, I would probably long it for a gap close. Same thing if it gapped up and then ran a bit up into here, I would probably short that. Gaps are great because they almost always get closed. You all know this. So anyway, hopefully those are some parameters that can help you at the open tonight. Oh, hey, Voices for Autism. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Bernard and Reed. Yeah, cool. So let's keep it moving. Let's look at silver real quick. Bam. Now, silver, oh boy, silver. All right, I'm going to keep it real simple. It's overlapping structure. I did another video on silver earlier today, so you can watch that to get into the details. But just very simply put, it is possible that we're still going to go higher. Silver is torturing folks. This is a very overlapping structure. It wicked above here where I was looking. I took off mine up here, and now I'm just kind of waiting. It is possible that it'll hold in this box as a B wave. It is also possible it could come down lower. So my plan is to do nothing except let price move, let it give me some more information, because here's the best clue I can give you on silver. In a C wave, it should be composed of 5 waves. So when I'm hunting for clues, I'm dropping down to the lower time frame. And what I want to see, and this is what Elliott Wave guys look at, you want to see a nano 5 wave move up and then a retrace that doesn't come too deep and that you can buy. And then you want to get above the top of wherever that 5 wave move terminated. So, because that's a clue. If this is going to be the low for the moment and we're going to get a C wave higher, and I'm not saying that it is, I'm just saying I'm looking for clues. I'm going to look for this to come up in 5 waves and then give a 3 wave pullback. Now, let's put the Armando fibs on here. This is a third. Actually, let me drop down. Let me go to an 8-minute chart. Just you see more details when you drop down on time frame. You can see more of details of the wave structure. So let's just do the last swing high right here to this low right here, 29.37. All right, and so here are some good clues. If we're going to get a good start, 5 waves up, 3 back, you're going to want to see it. It's not going to get resisted at this 618 here. It's going to keep coming. It's probably going to get above here and keep going. So I see this as a decent area to watch right in here as resistance. that it needs to get above. And then really the other obvious level, I had 29.76 from the past, but another very, I mean, it's just obvious, right? Is that last high right here at 29.95. And let's zoom back out and get a target. If you see 5 up and a 3 back, this is a projection based on Elliott Wave fibs for a C wave, which could get you all the way up here, certainly above 30 and probably above 30.50. And it can go even higher because there's another fib up here, the 382 fib, 30.85. So all of those targets, but here, guess what? Here's one of the great things about Elliott Wave is once you get 5 up, if we get 5 up and a 3-wave pullback, I will be able to measure more exactingly and project to dial it in a little more, just like we dial in on the NASDAQ and we dialed in on crude oil using ratios and other Elliott Wave measurements. So right now, am I just going to go crazy and say, yeah, silver's going way up here? Not at all. What I'm doing is looking at parameters, including the Armando way, which is to drill down on the lower time frames and just look for where the 618 is, look at structure. Which is maybe why I just love Armando's method and approach, because it's similar to Elliott Wave in that we are tracking structure. That's what we're doing. And we're using Fibonacci to do that. So it's kind of like peanut butter and jelly, man. It goes together really well. So anyway, that's the deal. Could you get a little bit of a resistance at the 618? Of course, always. And actually, look at the structure. Look at the structure right there at the 618. You'll see this all over the place on any instrument, almost on any time frame. Okay, so really what you don't want to see, if you're long already, if you're still long, you don't want to see this come back down. I mean, this is obviously an important level right in here. So, and there's also an Armando fib right here. This minus 27 fib, which is right above the 764 of that move. So, these are decent parameters, I think. Now we're in the middle. We're right in the middle of some important parameters. So I'm not doing anything with silver at the moment. I'm waiting for 5 up, 3 back. And then you want to see price, once it bottoms after the 3 back, it needs to break the top of wherever one wave terminates. All right, that's the deal. So let's see. Let's look. I got to wrap this up now. Let's real quick. Gold, similar idea to is this the low? Well, we've already got a really nice looking impulse higher, and I've projected a target up into here, 2365, 2367. There's a supply demand zone up here. There's also liquidity. Look at these candles. Now there's only a 20-minute chart, but these candles are there on the longer time frames. Go look at it. So I had a candle arrow over here too. They came up and got that. Yeah, sorry, this one. They came up. See, it's just liquidity. You see massive moves like that, they like to come back for it. And they did. Look here, zone to zone. See how they blew through this zone the first time? Then it came up and acted as resistance 3 times. Then it came back up and got all that liquidity that was right here in gold in this whole zone, came back and grabbed it all and shoved it all the way back down. And then now it's coming back up again. Are they coming back up just to grab this liquidity? So could be. Now there's a 21-minute chart. Last thing I'll do, let me see if I can channel Armando right here and say it's making higher highs and it's making higher lows. The trend is higher on lower time frame. Facts. Trend is higher. So let's put the fib tool to see if we can grab some levels that we can look for resistance or breakout, etc., or where we could Where could we grab some pips? Ooh, I like this. Look at this. This 618, I didn't even put it on there. It lines up perfectly with this little supply demand zone that I put in here from way over here. Actually, at one point I had it dragged back even further. But price is this zone to zone action right here. So will price get above it this time? You know, it's already gotten rejected a couple times. It did poke above it. Obviously, came all the way back down, not all the way, made a higher low. So if it can get above the 618, I mean, here's a scalp idea worth a few bucks. You get above here with a 1 hour candle close, I think it's likely we're going to go higher. So I don't even need to do much to this chart. That's what I would be thinking about. If it can get above the 618, especially if it does so impulsively, which on the smaller time frames is a great Elliott Wave thing. Eventually, I want to show the guys in Armando's club what I'm talking about Elliott Wave with regard to 5 up, 3 down, or the, you know, Armando's always talking about the structure of price because he knows about the structure of price. He knows where high probabilities areas are. And it's not just fib, it's sometimes the way it looks. It's real basic stuff that he is teaching that he is a master at. And with Elliott Wave, you can augment and get a little bit additional information by examining the actual structure of the waves themselves. We'll get into that later. But anyway, so above here, you know, I think it opens the door to at least a long scalp. But honestly, I think if it's done with this zone, if it's done with this consolidation in the zone, I mean, it already broke out, then it came all the way back, call it a retest. It's making higher lows. Next step is make a higher high without making a lower low first. So that's the first clue. If it comes down here and loses this support, that's a lot of, look at all this daylight down here. So zone to zone, this is support. And I think the target should be up here. If this can hold these levels, this is where I would be looking for the next pullback. All right, cool. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This is my first really live thing. I got to say, it's a lot of fun to see you guys on here. So with that, I think I'm gonna shut it down. The market's gonna open in 13 minutes. So we'll see where we're at. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. And I will see you in the room. If you're watching this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, Armando, I highly recommend that you find The Professor Trades on YouTube. His YouTube channel is actually linked to mine. And so you can easily find the professor through my YouTube channel. Just look for the link. Oh, hey, Juan. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot, David. Appreciate it. That was fun. All right, man. I'll see you guys in the rooms. And whatever you do, don't lose your behind on a day that ends in the letter Y. All right. See you guys. See you, Pete. Good to see you, man. I'll see you guys in a few in the room. All right, man. Bye-bye.